This was supposed to be his moment, a chance to prove he belonged in the NFL. Instead, he's caught in a storm of silence, suspicion, and stalled opportunity. After working his way into the Browns system, his chance was yanked away, not because of confirmed injury, but because of a decision he didn't agree with.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
Now his growth is on pause, and his name is entangled in a controversy he didn't start. Every week he sits. The window for proving himself narrows, and the narrative shifts away from promise and toward potential wasted. The longer this drags out, the more it feels like something bigger than a coaching decision. Behind the curtain, the Browns seem more invested in controlling the situation than in developing their quarterback. And Sanders, vocal, visible, and unafraid, is forcing everyone to reckon with that. It's not just about getting him back on the field. It's about whether he'll ever be treated like the future of the franchise instead of a liability to manage. SS Press Conference. The Cleveland Browns are embroiled in a scandal that could have long-lasting consequences for both the team and its young quarterback, Shedeur Sanders. What initially seemed like a minor benching decision has quickly spiraled into one of the most talked-about controversies of the 2025 NFL season. Sanders, the promising rookie quarterback, was mysteriously benched against the Patriots, with the team citing a back injury as the reason for his absence. However, it wasn't the injury that caught everyone's attention. It was Sanders' own public revelation that he wasn't the one making the decision to sit out. It was the team. That one statement opened up a floodgate of questions and sparked widespread speculation about the true nature of Sanders' injury and the Browns' overall management of their roster. For the Cleveland Browns, this situation has exposed far more than a questionable decision about one player. It's opened a Pandora's box of concerns about transparency, organizational dysfunction, and player development. And in a league that is increasingly scrutinizing the treatment of players and the ethical decisions made by teams, the Browns' actions are now under the microscope. The fact that Sanders was not only benched, but also contradicted the team's official statement about his injury raises critical questions about what the organization is hiding and what kind of internal issues might be at play. When Sanders appeared on live TV and publicly challenged the team's narrative, it was a clear indication that something was wrong. His comments were simple yet direct. He wanted to play, but the team told him he couldn't. His willingness to speak out immediately drew attention and set the stage for a much larger conversation about player rights and the lack of honesty in the NFL. What made his statement particularly striking was how it directly contradicted the Browns' official reason for his absence. Initially, the Browns claimed that Sanders had a back injury, but his comments, along with footage of him warming up before the game, suggested that the injury might not be as serious as the team had led everyone to believe. This discrepancy between what Sanders said and what the team reported raised alarms and prompted fans and analysts to start questioning the true reasons behind his benching. As the situation unfolded, the criticism surrounding the Browns' handling of Sanders grew louder. The fact that the team was so secretive about his injury only fueled suspicions. It was clear that the Browns weren't being forthcoming with the public. While Sanders was sidelined for what the team claimed was a back injury, many people who witnessed his warm-up routines saw no signs of him being in any pain or discomfort. If he was truly injured, why wasn't there any evidence of it? Why was the team refusing to provide a clear explanation for why their backup quarterback, who was perfectly capable of playing, was being benched? The secrecy surrounding Sanders' injury didn't just raise questions about the authenticity of the injury itself. It also highlighted a broader issue with how the Browns were managing their roster and their young quarterback. Was the team genuinely trying to protect Sanders and prevent him from play with an injury, or was there something else at play? Was the Browns' management attempting to conceal deeper issues, perhaps internal struggles or missteps that they didn't want to be exposed? The team's failure to provide transparency only increased the suspicions surrounding their decision-making. And as the Browns' poor performance continued, with starting quarterback Dylan Gabriel failing to deliver consistent results, it became clear that the team's treatment of Sanders wasn't just a matter of protecting a player's health. It was about protecting their own reputation and assets. The decision to continue starting Dylan Gabriel, despite his lack of performance, only intensified the scrutiny surrounding the Browns' handling of Sanders. Gabriel, despite struggling week after week, remained the starting quarterback. Sanders, on the other hand, was kept sidelined, and with each passing game, it became more and more difficult for the Browns to justify their decision to keep him out. The fact that Gabriel's performance continued to deteriorate while Sanders was on the bench only raised more questions about the Browns' priorities. If Sanders was truly ready to play, why wasn't he getting a chance to step in and provide a spark for a struggling offense? The team's decision to keep him sidelined, despite Gabriel's poor performances, only made the situation more confusing. Was the Browns' management more concerned with protecting their investment in Gabriel, or were they intentionally holding Sanders back for reasons that had nothing to do with his ability to play? At the heart of the issue was a growing sense of frustration among fans and analysts. It became increasingly apparent that Sanders wasn't being given a fair opportunity to prove himself. The Browns seemed more interested in maintaining the status quo, sticking with Gabriel despite his underperformance, than in giving Sanders a chance to show what he could do. This differential treatment between Sanders and Gabriel started to feel like a case of favoritism, a situation where the team's long-term potential was being sacrificed in favor of short-term stability. The more the Browns clung to their decision to keep Sanders on the sidelines, the more it seemed like they were afraid of risking his development or exposing weaknesses in their roster decisions. But by doing so, they were depriving him of the one thing every young quarterback needs: real playing time and experience. The Browns' handling of this situation is not just about one quarterback or one game. It speaks to a deeper issue within the organization, a culture of secrecy, poor communication, and mismanagement. The Browns have been notoriously tight-lipped about injuries in the past, but this situation feels different. The team's failure to be transparent about Sanders' health and the inconsistent explanations surrounding his benching suggests a lack of accountability within the organization. For a franchise to operate like this, especially with players as important as Sanders, creates an environment where trust is eroded. It's hard to imagine any player feeling secure in an organization that doesn't prioritize transparency or honesty. And for Sanders, the longer he is left in this uncertain and toxic environment, the harder it will be for him to develop and reach his full potential. SS Brown, what makes this situation even more concerning is a potential long-term impact on Sanders' career. The longer the Browns keep him sidelined, the more likely it is that he will miss out on critical opportunities to grow and improve as a quarterback. Sanders is a young player with immense potential, but if he isn't given a chance to showcase his talent on the field, his development could stagnate. And while the Browns may think they are protecting him by keeping him out, they are also risking his future by preventing him from getting the experience he needs to succeed. Sanders deserves better than this. He deserves a chance to play, to learn from his mistakes, and to grow as a quarterback. But instead, he finds himself in a situation where his future is being controlled by decisions made behind closed doors, decisions that have nothing to do with his ability to play the game. This controversy is a reminder of the flaws in the NFL's approach to player development and organizational transparency. Teams often prioritize short-term success over long-term growth, and as a result, promising players like Shedeur Sanders are left on the sidelines, waiting for a chance that never seems to come. The longer the situation goes unresolved, the more damage it will do, not just to Sanders' career, but to the Browns as a franchise. They have the chance to turn things around and give Sanders a chance he deserves, but whether they will do so remains to be seen. If you're frustrated with how Shedeur Sanders is being treated, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Should the Browns finally give him a shot, or are they justified in keeping him sidelined? Like and share this post if you believe the team needs to be more transparent and give their young quarterback the fair opportunities he deserves. Don't forget to subscribe for more updates on this developing story. The Browns' handling of this situation isn't over yet, and we'll be here to cover it as it continues to unfold. The Cleveland Browns are facing a monumental crisis that goes beyond just football. It's about transparency, trust, and the treatment of their young players. The situation with Shedeur Sanders, their promising rookie quarterback, has revealed deep-rooted issues within the organization, and it's becoming clear that the decisions made by the Browns management could have far-reaching consequences for the franchise and Sanders' future. When Shedeur Sanders was mysteriously benched during the Browns game against the Patriots, The team's official explanation was that he was sidelined due to a back injury. On the surface, that seemed like a straightforward reason. Injuries happen all the time in the NFL, and sometimes players need to be held out for their own protection. But then came the bombshell. Sanders himself went on live TV and revealed that the decision to sit out wasn't his. It was made by the team. This one simple, yet incredibly bold statement shattered the carefully crafted narrative the Browns had been feeding the media. Sanders' words raised crucial questions about the Browns' true motivations. Was the injury real, or was it simply a cover-up for something else? This revelation opened the door to an avalanche of speculation. Fans, analysts, and other players started to wonder, what exactly is going on behind the scenes in Cleveland? Why was a young, talented quarterback like Sanders being kept off the field when he was perfectly capable of playing? Sanders had shown that he was more than capable of stepping in and contributing, and the fact that he was being sidelined raised concerns about the Browns' true intentions. Was the team really protecting him from injury, or was there something more sinister at play? The way the Browns have handled Sanders has now become one of the most controversial topics in the league. From the conflicting reports about his injury to the team's refusal to give clear answers, it's hard to ignore the sense of dishonesty surrounding the situation. And what makes it worse is that this secrecy isn't just affecting Sanders. It's affecting the entire franchise. The Browns have managed to create an environment of distrust, one where players and fans alike are left guessing about what's really going on. Transparency is supposed to be a given in professional sports, especially when it comes to the health and development of a young star. But instead, the Browns have fostered a culture of secrecy that threatens to undermine everything they're trying to build. Adding fuel to fire is the Browns' continued faith in their starting quarterback, Dillon Gabriel. Despite a series of underwhelming performances, Gabriel has kept his starting position. He hasn't shown any real signs of improvement, and yet the Browns persist with him as the leader of their offense. Meanwhile, Sanders, who could have provided a much-needed spark for a struggling team, sits on the bench, watching from the sidelines. The Browns' decision to keep Gabriel as a starter, despite his obvious struggles, raises even more questions about their approach to quarterback development. Why stick with a player who's clearly underperforming while a young, talented rookie waits for his shot? The only reasonable explanation, at least based on the team's behavior, is that the Browns are trying to protect their investment in Gabriel, perhaps at the expense of Sanders' future. This scenario highlights a disturbing trend in the NFL, one that places more value on short-term stability than on long-term growth. The decision to keep Gabriel as the starter, despite his poor performance, reflects an organizational focus on managing the current situation rather than taking risks with their future. They seem more interested in controlling the outcome of the current season, try to win now, than in letting their young quarterback grow, learn, and develop into the future of the team. For Sanders, this is a missed opportunity. Every week he spends on the sidelines, his development stagnates. He needs real game experience, the kind that can only come from stepping onto the field, making mistakes, learning from them, and building the confidence to lead a team. The treatment of Sanders isn't just a case of mismanagement. It's a missed opportunity for the Browns to truly build something for the future. By withholding Sanders from playing, the team risks damaging his potential and, more importantly, his confidence. Young quarterbacks need time in the spotlight to develop, especially one as highly regarded as Sanders. Instead of growing and maturing as a player, Sanders is being stifled by a team that doesn't seem willing to take a risk on him. But beyond the technicalities of quarterback management, there's a much larger issue at play here. It's about the culture within the Browns organization and how it affects not only players like Sanders, but also the team's public image. The Browns are operating under a cloud of secrecy, and that's doing far more harm than good. The team is handling the situation with all the finesse of a press conference from a politician trying to dodge tough questions. Every time they withhold information or offer vague statements, they lose credibility. Fans are starting to question the team's integrity, and that is a dangerous path for any organization, especially one trying to rebuild and establish trust. The lack of transparency in this situation speaks to a deeper issue within the Browns organization. It's clear that the team is prioritizing short-term stability over long-term growth. The decision to keep Gabriel in the starting role, despite his lack of production, shows the Browns' reluctance to face reality. The truth is, the team has to make a choice. Either they give Sanders the opportunity to develop and potentially lead the team in the future, or they continue their current path, try to salvage a season that's slipping away, and risk stunning the development of their most valuable young asset. It's not just about this season. It's about building a sustainable future for the Browns. The team has a rare opportunity to develop a star quarterback, someone who could be the face of the franchise for years to come. But if they continue to delay his progress and keep him sidelined in favor of a quarterback who isn't performing, they risk losing that potential and losing the faith of their fans. Fans want to see the team grow. They want to see young players like Sanders get shot at leading the team. But when they see a team prioritizing image and short-term results, it makes them wonder the Browns are really committed to a winning future or just trying to preserve their reputation for the moment. As this saga unfolds, the biggest loser in all of this might not just be Shedeur Sanders. It could be the Cleveland Browns themselves. Every decision they make from here on out will be scrutinized, and their handling of Sanders could be the defining moment in how the public perceive them as an organization. If they continue to mishandle this situation, they risk creating a culture of distrust and frustration that could affect every aspect of the team, from player morale to fan support. This is a make-or-break moment for the Browns. If they can't manage their young quarterback properly, the damage could be irreparable. And as much as they might try to deflect the blame or protect their image, the truth will eventually come out. The Browns need to ask themselves what kind of franchise they want to be. Do they want to be an organization that fosters transparency, develops young talent, and builds the future? Or do they want to be a team that buries its problems, manipulates narratives, and makes decisions based on short-term goals rather than long-term success? And the longer this situation goes on without him getting a chance to play, the more he risks becoming disillusioned with the organization that drafted him. The longer the Browns wait to give him a real shot, the more they risk losing him, both as a player and as an asset for the future. If they want to make this right, the Browns need to make one thing clear. Sanders deserves a chance to play, to show what he's capable of, and to grow as a player the franchise hopes he will become. But if the Browns continue to keep him sidelined, they risk losing their best chance at a future star. The situation with Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns is rapidly evolving into a defining moment, not only for the franchise, but for the NFL as a whole. What started as a simple decision to bench a rookie quarterback has spiraled into a full-blown scandal that speaks to deeper issues within the Browns organization and the way NFL teams manage their players. The Browns have made a critical mistake by failing to be transparent with their fans and the public. The conflicting reports about Sanders' injury, his appearance on game day, his willingness to play, and the Browns' vague explanations have created a cloud of doubt that is now impossible to ignore. It's no longer just about whether Sanders should be starting. It's about how the team has mishandled a player who was supposed to be the future of the franchise. By keeping Sanders on the sidelines under questionable circumstances, the Browns have shown that they aren't as committed to player development as they claim to be. The real tragedy here is the missed opportunity. Shedeur Sanders is a young, talented quarterback with all the tools to be a star. He has the talent, the mindset, and the drive to lead this team into the future. Yet he's being denied the one thing that all quarterbacks need: experience. Football is a game of opportunity. You can't develop by sitting on the bench and watching others struggle in your place. Every game Sanders spends on the sideline is a game he could have used to learn, to grow, to find his rhythm in a real game environment. And by keeping him out, the Browns aren't just hurting Sanders, they're hurting themselves. A franchise quarterback is one of the most valuable assets a team can have, but the Browns are treating Sanders like an afterthought when he should be at the center of their future plans. Dillon Gabriel's continued starting position, despite his lackluster performances, only deepens the mystery. If Gabriel is struggling, why not give Sanders a shot? It's not as though the team is flourishing with Gabriel at the helm. The Browns are stuck in a cycle of mediocrity, but the one player who could potentially break that cycle is being kept on the bench. If this situation continues, it won't just be a wasted season. It will be a wasted opportunity to develop a franchise player who could carry the team for years to come. The Browns' handling of the situation isn't just about football strategy. It's about leadership and accountability. The way the team has failed to address the public's concerns, the way they've let the situation fester without providing any clear answers, is a sign of deeper issues within the organization. It's one thing to make a bad decision. It's another to double down on that bad decision and then hide behind vague statements and secrecy. The Browns aren't just losing games. They're losing the trust of their fans, their players, and anyone who's watching this unfold. If there's one thing that's become crystal clear, it's that Shedeur Sanders deserves better than this. He deserves a chance to prove himself. The longer the Browns keep him out, the more they risk damaging his confidence and future with the team. The Browns have to make a choice. They can either continue to protect their image and hold Sanders back, or they can be honest with themselves and give him the chance to develop into the player they drafted him to be. The longer they wait, the more damage they'll do to his potential and to their own future. What do you think? Should the Browns give Sanders a start now, or continue down this path of uncertainty? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and share if you believe it's time for Browns to stop hiding behind excuses and start putting their future in the hands of their most promising young quarterback. Subscribe to stay updated on this ongoing controversy. This story isn't over yet.